Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Angel.
Hello.
We're back with Port Charles Tainted Love, week 11. So, things happened this week. I wouldn't say a lot of things, but things happened. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So I guess we should start with the Transylvania stuff since that's so separated from everything else that was going on. So last we saw Kevin and Lucy arrived in Transylvania, and at the airport, a guy that was helping them with their luggage kind of ran to the phone and made a phone call that they had arrived to a voice that creeps me out. What was his name? Charles Keaton. I'm thinking Michael Keaton. Charles Keaton.
Well, they spelled their last names differently. His is spelled Keating.
Oh, okay.
Keating.
Okay. So they arrive at a hotel, and Kevin gets a phone call that Caleb is dead. So he immediately wants to go. Plus, they're getting weird vibes, and Lucy's like, "We just got here," and I was on Lucy's side a little bit with this. I'm like, "We just flew all this way. I'm not turning around with no
Yeah,
answer."
me too.
Going all the way. I even would have been like, "You go, I'll stay," even though he probably would.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that exact same thing. I was like, if I was in Nigeria, which do I even want to go to Nigeria? I don't know. But according to my ancestry, I'm from Nigeria.
Okay.
If I want to stay in Nigeria and find out who my people are, I would stay in Nigeria to find out who my people are.
Right. Especially knowing that's probably hours on a plane. I'm not circling back after just got off a plane. So I guess she gives in because she's like, "Let me just shower and get into bed." Maybe she said we'll leave in the morning or something. But he leaves the room, and I guess there was a gas leak. Somebody broke the gas main or something.
You're skipping an important part, I think. Wait. What was the? Because there was a reason why she took a shower.
Oh, am I missing a part?
Yeah, it's where she fell in. Well, we didn't. Okay, so we didn't see it, but because of the issues with the episodes and stuff like that. But I think they went to a grave site and then she fell in the grave. And then she came back.
Right. So she found out Co is short for Kovich. So she found out her family is buried, and she went to the cemetery. And they found maybe the family plot or where some of her relatives are. And she fell in an open grave. And she was freaking out. He's like, "Give me your hand." She hands him her purse. She's like, "Your hands." So yeah, so she got a little dirty when he pulled her up from the grave, and I guess that's why she needed to take the shower.
Yeah, because when she came back, she was clearly still dirty from falling in the grave.
Okay, so all right, so that's better. So then she takes a shower, but when she comes out, I guess somebody broke a gas main in the room. So she starts to feel lightheaded. The door is locked. She can't get the windows open. She even tries to pick up a statue, I guess, to break the window, but she's so weak that she kind of passes out. Then we see Kevin meet up with somebody that works there, and he starts to feel weird, which I was like, is it seeping out of the room? I was like, is this guy have mythical powers and he's making him weak? Also, I thought that guy looked familiar. I wasn't sure if he plays a bigger part in this. But so Kevin runs to go and try and help Lucy, and we kind of see Lucy's blurred vision, and someone who looks blonde breaks the window so that fresh air could come in. I suspect it's Rafe, and then based off of the promo we got for next week, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Hi, Brian Gaskell.
Yeah, his hair looked good. It was nice and fresh cut. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen him on The Young and the Restless?
I've only seen pictures on Twitter. I haven't, because I'm not really watching The Young and the Restless.
So a lot of people were like, "Is that Brian Gaskell?" Because he has the uncanny ability to change his appearance for a role. because he played a I'm sorry, I'm gonna say the R word. He played a rapist on
The
the
Bay.
Bay the series,
Hmm.
and he had the same like I'm gonna change my look just to suit the role type of thing, which that's what I really like about him. I think I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe I follow him on Twitter. I don't know. I know him.
I guess it came up as a suggestion, or maybe somebody I follow retweeted it.
Hmm.
But he was like celebrating 30 years in the business, and he was like talking about Models Inc., like how he got started on there. Um, so I had seen him on Port Charles before I even saw it. Like a little, I haven't seen all
Yeah,
of
I didn't know he was on Models
it.
Inc.
So I was like, oh,
until
I didn't know he was on here.
I didn't even like I had heard about Models Inc. because it was like a big deal at the time, but
Hmm.
I didn't know he was on Models Inc. until like after the fact when I saw him on Port Charles when I kind of read up about him.
And I think he was on All My Children in like the late 90s before Port Charles.
Yes, that's right. He was. Yep, he was. Oh my
I never
gosh.
saw him. I just read his IMDb,
Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like,
Who
oh,
did he play? He played a very important character to the legacy of the show.
oh, really?
Bobby, I want to say
Couldn't answer it because I don't know.
Martin. I think he was a Martin. I believe he was a Martin on
Oh,
the
he was a
show.
Martin. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't think his name was Bobby though, but somebody help me in the comments below. By the way, thank you for helping me in the comments on the Guiding Light video. So
Right, we got a whole history. That was
the whole
great.
history, it was awesome.
But back to Port Charles.
Yes.
So Lucy comes to, and Kevin's there, and she thinks that Kevin saved him, and he's like, "No, it wasn't me." He's like, "I came, and you were like in the bed already," and she was like, "Oh, that's weird." um, so Lucy ends up getting a letter, like with that like wax stamp on it that has like the family crest of the
Hmm. Morley.
Morley. I always want to say Morley. um,
Morrissey.
requesting that they meet. And Kevin's like, I don't know about this. And she's like, this is why we came here. She's like, I need to learn about my heritage. And
Hmm.
so they go to a mansion. And this is where we see, uh, what was his name?
Charles Keating.
No, the character.
Oh,
He kept
Michael?
saying he
No,
was
not
like
Michael.
the
What?
family's
Oh my
manager or
gosh,
something.
he mentioned his name. Was it like Harrington or something?
He said he was
He
like the
mentioned
house manager of the family's
he
like,
was the house manager, yeah, but
yeah.
I forgot his name.
Uh,
And
well,
I didn't see the closing credits this time, so
uh,
I didn't pick it up.
so they bring up vampires, and Kevin's suspicious because he doesn't flinch about it, and he tries to play it off like in this part of the world that's common. And his family has worked for the Morleys for basically centuries,
Hmm.
and I'm like, your family or you have worked for centuries. um so Kevin is suspicious because he says that Caleb left years ago. And he's like, you didn't flinch when I said Caleb's name. He's like, which makes me think that he didn't leave not too long ago. Now, when I think years ago, Michael's human and
Hmm.
Caleb's his twin. And let's say they're like 35 at the most. It couldn't have been that long ago because there
Yeah.
was a whole Olivia, my bride thing. So they would have to have been adults. So it couldn't have been more than maybe 10 years, if
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say maybe 10 years ago, like when they were 25.
Yeah.
That was
Unless there's
young.
like a legacy of Caleb lookalikes that are vampires.
Yeah, right.
um, but so they basically inform him that Caleb's dead because they got the phone call, and he's like, I wasn't aware, and he basically has to make arrangements. I don't know if it's for a funeral or what. That was very vague. Um, and prior to all this, he basically told them that their lives are in danger. He was aware of the first attempt on Lucy's life, and that if they wanted to leave alive, they needed to stay with him. So, but once he learned about Caleb's death, he's like, I have to arrange. He's like, do what you want, stay, go. I don't care. He's like, whatever. He's like, people in this part of the country or world are very old school. They stay to traditions. He's like,
Mhm.
it could be quaint in like small communities, but it's a little archaic here. So Kevin asked Lucy if she could distract the old guy, and she's like, "Yeah, it's what I do best." But we see that they're being watched by somebody mysterious. Well, we don't see the person, but we kind of see like through their vision, through the bushes, that they're being watched.
That little music.
So based off of the blonde figure that saved Lucy and the promo, I'm gonna guess it's Rafe.
I think it's
Watching
Rafe
them.
too.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it for them, right?
Yeah, that was it for Transylvania.
Okay. So then I guess go ahead.
Well, we see Rafe at the very end. He kidnaps, or not kidnaps. I mean, kidnaps the wrong word, but he like
grabs
Lucy. He grabs Lucy.
Yeah.
And this was during that montage at the end of the episode.
Oh, I looked down. I had to stop looking down because the song that was playing, I was like, I wonder if this is a real song. So I Shazammed it, and Shazam couldn't find anything. So I was like, they swapped this out.
Darn.
Shazam was like, still trying. This is a tough one. I was like, I know it's not real. But I guess the other smaller story would be Gabby and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So Gabby's passed out in her cage, or Chris's cage, and he injects her with something. Oh,
well, first, wait, because that was my favorite part. I got a good laugh out of it. She was like laying down, and then he claps his hands and wake her up, and she just like gets up. Like, what the hell?
Did he like injected her with like a sedative first, right, or like a tranquilizer?
Yeah,
so that he could then inject her with like something. Yeah, so that he could then inject her with something that was gonna like separate her plasma from what I don't know. He was saying probably fake stuff.
Yeah, it's all called lore. It's lore.
Yeah. But Jamal and Allison come to check on her, and they see her passed out, and Jamal's freaking out, and he thinks that Chris isn't trying to help her. He's turned her into like a lab rat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Allison goes to check to see if she has a pulse and if she's okay, and she doesn't, or her breathing's very weak. And I'm like, well, if she's a vampire, she wouldn't have a pulse.
So. Wouldn't have a pulse. So then he later said, well, Chris later said that like she has a weak pulse.
Mm-hmm. But what was it? They couldn't get her to wake up.
They couldn't get her to wake up.
So they basically have to unofficially admit her to the hospital.
Yep, to GH.
And when she comes to, her and Jamal have a moment where she like feels like she doesn't have anybody, and he tells her that's not true. You have me. Mm-hmm. And he tells her that Allison was actually the one that kind of like spearheaded them getting her to wake up, which she thought was weird. Mm-hmm. And she thanks Allison because Allison comes to bring Jamal coffee. But Jamal gets a phone call from Jack, and he has to go run. So he kind of leaves those two alone. I thought it was weird that we saw Alan Quartermain. I thought like once we got into Supernatural, we were not gonna.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, who's on the phone? I'm like, wait, Alan Quartermain. So, but you know what? I don't want to say. I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
Alan's death actually helped. It, like with the Ron Carlivati stuff, where they kind of basically said that like, oh, the vampires weren't real and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because had Alan been alive, he would have said, no, actually, the medical staff told me about vampires.
Yeah, like 15 years ago. Yeah, because he finds out about Gabby being unofficially in there. He's like, why are there guards at her door? Why are they not letting anybody in? And I guess they hand him, Ian's the one that's like, I'm not going to lie to you. You've always been good to me. And I guess he hands him over the records of like the studies, I guess, that Chris has been doing.
No, I thought he was going to lie to them. I thought it was literally like, oh, it's like a virus or something. Like I thought, because if you notice when they cut back to it after we didn't see him tell the story, because we all know what the story is.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mention vampire. I don't think Alan even mentioned vampire either.
But the look on his face implied that he knew the truth.
Yes.
Because when he left, a nurse asked like what they should do, if they should like tell the security to leave or whatever, and he said no. He said no one's
Mhm.
to enter that room. And you kind of see him look at the record, and he's just like freaked out. And
Mhm.
I was like, wow. I was like, I really thought we were done with crossovers, but it's not. Um, I wonder if he ever shows up again, or if Scott
That's what I'm
ever
wondering.
like comes to pay a visit.
Well, did you see that clip this week that somebody posted on sorry, Twitter, I'm forgetting who you are, about around this time. Oh no. Okay, well, I'm about to spoil something. So one of the characters on Poor Charles dies late down the line. It's not Eve because we already established that Eve does die, but it's another character.
Oh, I know
And
who it is because I
yep,
actually watched General Hospital this week, and I saw Scott in the cemetery with
Jagger.
Jagger, and
I'm
they were
not calling him
talking
John.
about yeah. So I was like, because Jagger hates Sonny because he made Karen a stripper, and I'm like, this feels like an old story that was resolved 30 years ago. Why are we bringing this up?
Well, also Scott, that's why Scott is constantly on Sonny's neck
Hmm.
because of Karen.
Yeah,
Because in the clip, it was like Karen died, and Sonny was like, "Oh, okay." He
yeah,
was like, it's like, yeah, okay. It was like, oh, yeah,
yeah,
he's Sonny basically was like, okay, whatever. And then Scott just was like, like you did this to her. Da, 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 da.
yeah. See, I don't know how we get there with Karen.
Mhm.
I was actually more surprised that GH was acknowledging something that happened on Port Charles in their
It's the
lore.
only thing that they acknowledge, I think.
Which, and yeah, I guess you pick and choose, cherry pick.
Yeah, you pick and choose. Yeah.
um. Oh, so we pick up with Jack and Livy,
Hmm.
who were getting hot and heavy. Livy's like, "Bite me, like just bite me."
Bite me, bite me.
She's like whispering in his ear in her bra, and she's like rubbing up on him, kissing his
Hmm.
chest. It was a little sexy. Um, and he like freaks out, and he's like, "I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do this to you." And she's like, "Bite me."
Bite me.
um, yeah, this I'm kind of getting over this. I'm still enjoying the show, but I'm just like getting over like Livy's confusion about who she cares about and her crying. Like I'm tired of
Yeah,
her
I mean,
crying
Kelly
like,
Monaco,
"Caleb, help me,
like,
Caleb, help me," and then she's like, "I love you, Jack. I love you, I love you." And then she I don't know, she keeps flip flopping. I just want her to be a bad
flip flop.
bitch and like stop crying.
I mean, I do want to I do want to put a positive spin on this. Like Kelly Monaco's doing a really good job, like always. She does, like she
Hmm.
does. Um, I mean, that's all I could say about that. It's just getting on my nerves again because I thought that maybe as we go more into the arc, she isn't as whiny. And I'm
um,
wondering if
she was whinier in the other arcs, so it's a different. Now it's like, you know how they call Nicole a weepy wench
yeah.
on, on days. It's kind of like that territory right now because she's just
Well, I
always
meant
crying.
the arcs going forward. I know
Yeah,
she's
I
like
feel
a
like
bitch
I hope
goddess.
I hope she stops crying and she just starts bossing up.
Yeah.
um, I'm still looking for like cracks in the story where she could have split and with the
I think I
Tesla.
might have found where it was.
Yeah,
We'll,
this
we'll
week.
mention we'll mention it this week. Yeah, I think
Okay.
we'll mention it when we get to it. I'll.
So once Jack kind of denies biting her, she puts a shirt on and she goes out on the terrace at the because they're at the lighthouse, and she's basically like straddling the bar like she's gonna jump,
Hmm.
and she's like screaming for Caleb to help her, save her, take her away from all this. And Jack finds her and he tries to talk her off the ledge, talks about how much he loves her and how they're meant to be together and she just needs to
Hmm.
remember their love. And she ended up jumping or falling. I wasn't really quite sure.
I think a combination of both. I think she fell, but she really wanted to jump, but she wound up falling instead.
And Jack kind of like lunged off of the ledge also.
The opening credits, please.
Yeah. And then we're at the bottom and they're fine because I guess they didn't have the budget to show like special effects of him like going super fast and catching her like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So, but vampire strength and speed, quarter, everybody's fine. Meanwhile, this kind of leads into the scene. So back at the hospital, we didn't really see the follow up of this because, like we said, the first episode was a little choppy.
Mm-hmm.
But we last left with Michael telling Eve that he did what she asked and he killed his brother. So now he wants to tell everybody else, Livy, Lucy, all the parties involved. And Eve tells him that they're out of town, but he's like, okay, well, I want to tell like Livy and Jack and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this happened in the scenes we didn't see because it was in the promo, but I guess Ian didn't believe it at first. And in the promo, he says, what do you want to see the blood yourself or whatever? My brother's blood.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see that scene. He ends up going to the lighthouse with Ian and Eve. And Livy first sees him after, the jump and she was saved. And she thinks that it's Caleb. And he tells her, no, I'm not Caleb. Caleb was my brother. I'm Michael. So now she's all confused again.
That's what. So for that entire time when I saw Michael before that scene, I thought, oh, obviously Caleb put on the habit, habits before sisters, but
the collar
and everything like that, and that's really Caleb. But until Livy ran up to him and hugged him, I was like, oh, okay, well that's Michael.
I'm still not completely convinced because it's almost like I don't want to get got. So the whole week I'm just like, all right, I'm waiting for the reveal that he's really Caleb. I'm waiting for it, and then it didn't happen. But I'm still not quite convinced.
Yeah,
that he's not playing some kind of dramatic game.
like my grade in computer science, I've taken, I'm about 99% sure. So
that it is Michael.
That it's Caleb.
Okay.
There's like a little percentage that says, okay, maybe it is Michael, but
yeah, because we didn't see the fight. That's why it's kind of like vague.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said, you're not gonna get me this time. Like when they do like long ass like fantasies, and I'm just like, oh, maybe it's real, and then it's not.
Reminds me of Passions.
They tried it this week with Livy's Dream.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, you're not getting me. Although, actually, no, they almost did get me because he was like, I felt like maybe like his spirit was visiting her, like telling her that Michael killed him.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. Also, I was like, so little backstory about myself. I went to school briefly, not briefly, more like 3 years for communication, but the communication was more focused on film.
Okay.
So, which no longer a major where I went to school, so don't look it up. But it was at University of Arts. If you want to look up the school, it's a really good school, but the major's no longer there. I learned a little bit about directing, and the way that I could tell it was a dream was that like it got darker, and then also when Livy was like, bowled over crying, there was a spotlight, and I'm like, this is weird. Okay. And these episodes, I think 4 out of 5 episodes, okay, fine, I guess 3 out of 4 episodes, because there was only
10 minutes of the Mondays.
10 minutes of one of them were actually directed by Francesca James. And if you don't know who Francesca James is, she was on All My Children in the 70s, 70s or 80s, I think, as twins.
She's an actress?
Yeah, she was an actress who pivoted into behind the scenes work. I think she was on All My Children too.
Okay.
As an EP, executive producer. So I've been like looking at her directing style, and I noticed it's a lot. It suits what the episodes are going for. Like,
okay,
Livy's in, Livy's kind of, Livy's in this like wants Caleb, but she wants Jack and all this stuff like that. So she does a
Mm-hmm.
good job at that. And then Friday's episode, I think that was Friday's episode, was of course directed by Andrew Lee, my favorite director of Port Charles.
Really?
Yeah, I mention him a lot.
So I keep wanting to call him Caleb. Michael tells everybody like what happened, and Livy, I guess, ends up upstairs. She falls asleep. I guess she has that fantasy of Caleb coming to visit her. I almost thought, even though I wasn't convinced that this was Michael, I almost felt like the way he was talking, he was about to do an exorcism on Livy, because he's like, I have to get the last bit of Caleb out of her, and I'm like, oh, are we gonna do like a whole exorcist thing? I wasn't sure where we were going with this.
Livy to like rise from the bed like Marlena.
Did you imagine she started levitating?
She started levitating like Marlena.
Yes. He apologizes to Jamal because Jamal's now there because he got that phone call from Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Jack really like feeds into Livy's confusion a lot,
mm-hmm.
because while he's trying to help her work through processing that Caleb isn't gone and dead, he's telling her to like remember their love and that they should be together. But then he also, because he's a vampire, doesn't want to be like Caleb and hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
So then in turn, he's like, stay away from me. I don't care about you. He's like screaming at her. And I'm just like, whoa, you just totally like flipped it. No wonder this girl's confused.
Yeah.
And so now she's back to crying about Caleb because Jack did that to her. So she keeps flip-flopping. So Jack tells Jamal that he wants him to do what he made him promise weeks ago, which I totally forgot about. But once he said it, I was like, ah, right. He wants him to kill him. He says destroy, but he means kill. And Jamal won't do it. So Jack's gonna like basically starve himself from blood and just like die a painful death. And he goes to the catacombs, which I think is where Caleb had his fake lair with the bed that didn't have plumbing and no bathroom or anything. No shower. To die. He goes there to die, and he's in pain. And Livy goes back to her and Jack's spot by the river, the lake. I don't know what body of water that is.
Whatever that is in Port Charles, New York. We know it's not an ocean, so just like Pine Valley had an ocean.
You know, she talks to Jack as Jack's like talking to her, talking about how they love each other so much. And then we see in the shadows what appears to be a beaten up Caleb.
Appears to be.
And then I'm like, you're not gonna get me. But I was confused.
I was confused.
I'm like,
too.
Was he pretending to be Michael the whole time, and now he's gonna pretend to be all beaten up like Michael did this to him? I don't know what to think. I don't want to get caught. But you said you're 99% sure that it was Caleb the whole time. Which, going with that theory, very proud of him for being able to like keep it together, because you know Caleb's very unhinged and he doesn't have patience. So for him to be able to play this long game, very proud of him.
Hey, look, you don't hate the player, hate the game.
So then he basically begs Livy to let him bite her because he needs her in order to recover. He's like, I need your love, I need you. And from the looks of it, it looks like she finally got bit.
And I'm wondering if this moment right here is when
the split happened.
The split happens with Livy and Tess. Now, look,
there's one more moment that I remember from the finale, and when we get there, we'll talk about it. And I think that might be it, but I have to see how it plays out because I'm not a little fuzzy on the details.
Disclaimer: we all know that the writers didn't have Tess in mind at Tainted Love.
No, it's like a year later.
It was a year later.
So we had mentioned this before. There was a montage of everybody, like the whole cast. Um, Karen, Frank, Ian, and Eve are back at the apartment, basically celebrating that Caleb's gone. Eve,
A little before that, hold on, I completely forgot about this. I don't know where to even fit it in, but we'll fit it in the montage. So before the montage even happened, Karen, Frank, even Ian were all in even Ian's apartment, formerly Ariana's. And
never
what did I
happened.
say?
Never happened.
And and sorry. And Karen gives Eve a necklace, and Ian takes off the crest.
Right. So I noticed she was still wearing the crest, and I was like, I wonder how Ian feels about that. But then I was like, they acknowledged it because, like you just said, Karen gave her. She said she wanted to be the first to give her a baby present.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Did she ask Karen to be the godmother or something?
I'm so sure it happens because
I feel like there was a moment like that. Their moments are very brief.
There's something I noticed when I'm just gonna say actors' names. When Thorsten Kaye puts the necklace on Julie Pinson. So here, thank goodness I got my hair braided. He put the necklace on over her hair, and she never like moves her hair, so her hair is basically stuck in the necklace.
Right, I noticed that too. I don't know if that's just like because we're human or because we're both horses, but I noticed that too. I was expecting her to just like pull her hair out, and she never did.
And stuff like that.
I couldn't focus. I noticed it.
I know. I was like, wait, did they just put the necklace over her hair? And
right.
Then I saw the gold chain go like around her hair, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So something I noticed during the montage, they were all drinking beers or champagne. It looked like beers. Maybe they switched to champagne. I don't know.
The guy
had milk.
Beers.
He had milk, and Frank like put like a little bit of beer or champagne in her milk. Did you notice that?
Ew.
Yeah, he like it wasn't a lot, and I was like, "That's weird." I'm like, "She's pregnant, and are you thinking, oh, a little bit won't hurt the baby?" Like he literally like put a little bit during the montage. He like the beginning of the montage, he put a little bit in her milk. I was like,
I thought it
was that
lemonade, but
an actor improvising, or was that supposed to be part of it?
I wonder if he forgot that Eve was pregnant.
Right, and he was just like in the scene, like refilling everybody. Like, yeah, I thought that was weird. So like I said, I Shazammed the song, and I wonder if it was supposed to be Tainted Love playing, and they just couldn't get the rights to it.
Yeah, because I mean they do play Tainted Love during the
promo.
The promo, yeah. During the promo, so I'm wondering if like there's certain avenues that they can only play it in.
But during the promo, it's just kind of like the audio. It's not like the lyrics. So I wonder if they could just kind of sample it, and they're not allowed to play the whole song.
Wait a minute. I'm getting a core memory unlocked.
About this song?
So as you all know, I did see the show live when it came out. So because it's the summer, I didn't go to school. I did nothing in the summer but watch soap operas. You might be right about that it was Tainted Love that played.
Just because I feel like
I might have to
Time in the Bottle played during a similar montage during that arc.
I mean, Time in the Bottle played all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
maybe it was cheaper.
I'm guessing Jim Croce was cheaper than
maybe
Tainted Love. Soft. I forgot who they.
Soft Cell.
Soft Cell, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we saw during the montage Livy get bit, and I guess because I was just Shazamming the song, I didn't see Lucy got taken. And that was pretty much it. Oh, Allison and Jamal found Jack in the catacombs, and Jamal runs to go get blood. I guess he had like blood in his car or something. Which, does Jamal have a car? Because I feel like he always had a motorcycle. Maybe he had on his motorcycle.
Yeah, probably got on his motorcycle.
Logic.
And then Jack Jack, I think, suspected that Livy got bit, and then he screams into the.
Do you think that's like his psychic connection to Caleb? And Caleb's like able to show him what's happening? Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
It was like a nice little like crane shot. Well, actually, the same crane shot happened with Livy too when she got bit.
I keep having these moments when there's just like Allison and Jack scenes where she's like, "I'm not gonna let you die. You're my friend." And I always think, were you guys dating at this time? Like whenever they have like love scenes, I'm always like, I wonder if they were dating.
Were they dating? I know they get married during the show. So
right. Oh, they were married while they were still on the show.
Yeah, because she went by Aaron Hershey Presley. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
I'm thinking of Jason Priestley, so that's
Priestley.
Why.
But do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
One more thing. I know we mentioned like the previews. Allison actually cuts herself, and with the intention to have Jack drink her. So
right. Did she do it in the preview, or she was going to? Because it looked like, I know she had like something, and she was like, "You could do this, Allison. You could do this."
yeah. I think it was she was going to do it. So she cuts like right here. Oh wow, I forgot that we have people who don't listen to who don't watch here. So like her who don't watch YouTube and listen to us. So like it's her hand, like the top of her hand.
Right. So it looks like an exciting week next week. We're going to meet Rafe. I'm excited that we're moving into the territory where we're meeting characters I remember, like the newer characters for the show. So that's exciting. I can't wait for Lucy to find out she's a vampire slayer, an umpire slayer.
Umpire slayer, yeah.
But all right, well, thank you for joining us for week 11 of Port Charles Tainted Love. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.
Bye.